that, and that's what this poem is about. It's called Seedlings of the Free. I'm also very sleepy, so if I'm like out of it, and I don't drink very often at all, but I had a little bit, so forgive me if I'm silly. But I'm trying to be as serious as possible, because it's a serious poem, but... Oh, man. Alright. The day that it became illegal to stay warm without a roof in my city after dark, I was mowing lawns in the suburbs for a company I despise, turning the backyard forests of strangers into the smooth golf course lines that the city will break you for not keeping straight. Whenever I'd get to a house whose grass and unwanted shrubs hadn't seen a blade all year, I thought the even growths left behind when I was done weren't worth shit compared to the uneven jungles I'd just laid low. But as the visits to the same house piled up and the lawns got closer to real estate pornography, every green blade that stuck up higher than the rest, and all the leaves and unloved flowers that fit in gloriously in the garden grown from nothing but wind and human neglect, became a break to the lines of green. It was my work to keep intact, and the straighter they stayed, the better I felt about my work. A weed is just a plant that breaks a pattern that would go on forever without it, and once unexpected seeds sprout into an identical green sea. The masters of lawns can't call their job done until there are none left, but there's not a yard in the world she can keep dandelions out of for good, so they can never win. This city started out like any other, a ragged mess built on top of what used to be rocky, thorny wonderland, then a place where miners and outlaws could sleep under a blanket of stars in coverings that weren't yet illegal, then a place to sin and drink and fight and forget on those days off when there were no company guards to watch you like a canary. Then came the things worth protecting, the Capitol buildings and mansions on hills, bank vaults and glittery towers built on oil and cable TV, conventions and silly statues and fast casual restaurants, things too precious to exist beside the wild growths that belong here, things that require mowers and laws to protect their dreams of a flesh-lawn city from being drowned out by the brambles and wildflowers that can never be chased away. But the ground will not be broken into taking orders, and people are not grass to be clipped in a line, even in a place where the man who signed his name to make warmth and sleep a crime worthy of a year in jail slept on benches in his own childhood and says all he's trying to do is build some tough love to push people a little harder into finding jobs that don't exist, to pay for homes that already do. Make something of yourself, like I did, like everyone can be mayor, like everyone can win. But even if we could, what's the point when your path is set, when your trail is predetermined, when liberty is a gift from above that can be taken in whole if you use too much of it, even in a place where the medical marijuana joints outnumber the Starbucks 2-to-1, and there's only one Walmart in town, where they put rainbow flags on the street poles for the Pride Parade, paid for with the tax dollars of liberals and fundamentalists alike, where poets can get paid to say the F word in public, and no new building gets built without a carbon footprint calculator, even when they hire ex-graffiti artists to paint murals in light rail stations while the cops hunt through the night with copters for those with spray canisters and no permit to paint, even when every freedom is allowed, so long as it is obedient and documented and profitable and overseen, even when the city tries hard as it can to look less like a golf course and more like an organic produce garden, there is still a floor plan for the ground that you stand on that will not permit you to develop into anything that doesn't fit into the architect's sketch, even when what's allowed includes, for the moment, some things that I love. National parks and gas station coffee, doo-wop and photocopy manifestos and tattered old paperbacks, strips of rundown businesses of motels and diners and incredible breakfasts and tumbleweeds, even when a life of regulation can have all the beauty that you need. The threat waiting for you if you veer off makes that beauty into the beauty of bonsai trees, teacup pigs, hedge animals, the beauty of your sovereign spirit trimmed into the beauty of another's plan. Leave the world as it stands, where desire runs wild, where the culture of downtown at dark makes downtown by day look like the shitty puppet show that it is, where the jungle that sprouts out of a plot of land on its own makes the blueprinted lawns and xeriscape gardens look free as a boot camp. Let life be itself with no one trying to sculpt it, and I'll gladly do people favors, go to pretty places, read scary stories, and go to bed early. But once you draw a line of a place you cannot go, a thing you cannot do, a freedom you cannot have, that's where I'll be. As long as there are crimes, I'll be a criminal. As long as there are plans for the ground that we stand on, I'll gladly be a weed. And as long as there are limits of what you can become, there will be hostile growths whose goal is not conquest, but to be what they are. So victory is certain. They can spray, they can chop, they can mow. They've done it before, they'll do it again. But we keep growing back, the greatest threat that they know. Hostile growths like us, seedlings of the free. Alright, so this next poem I'm gonna do is inspired by a Holocaust museum I went to in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is called Sprinklers Behind Glass, and I hope you enjoy. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Alright. Today, I saw a sprinkler behind glass. Thin glass that would easily break beneath a fist wrapped in a t-shirt, and I've got two. A shower head that thousands of shaven-headed humans spent their last prayers in Romani or Hebrew to see gone, now sitting in a one-room Holocaust museum guarded only by aging pacifists, so I could have made those prayers come true. Just 43 million minutes too late for it to make a difference. And in Georgia estates, and Florida nursing homes, men that burn black skin as an effigy for the problems in their marriage sit out their retirement in the satisfaction that they really did walk. Because for every Emmett Till getting some kind of justice, 40 years too late, there are 1,000 names I will never know whose killers are more vulnerable than ever to the kind of justice most judges go their whole careers without giving out. And cops today do the same thing to punishment of paid leave and sensitivity classes. And I don't mean to say that we could punish them too, but we can. Because successful slam poets make enough in one college gig to keep a family in a house their great-great-grandparents built, and enough on the course of a tour to keep land in the hands of people who've lived there since before anyone ever said the word London, because the money in my pocket would make the difference between life and death if it was in somebody else's, because money makes the difference between life and death every minute of every day. And queer leftists get close enough to foreign dictators that want to kill them, to slit their throats, but instead give them hugs and speaking dates, because the enemy of my enemy is still my fucking enemy most of the time. And Americans go to Holocaust museums and ask if this could happen here, proving why it can, while the smallest minority in this country is those whose land this is to begin with. And when I look at a map of the stages of genocide, Arizona's already made it halfway. But I don't think it's fair to compare our leaders to Hitler, when Stalin's a far better comparison. 3 presidents from 2 families kept all food and medicine out of a country for 12 years and 2 million funerals to teach their leaders who that oil really belongs to. Now their pensions are equal to their kill counts, and their names are the names of airports and charities, and if any one of them met their Nuremberg noose, it'd be called a national tragedy. And men who turn food into fuel for a career win prizes from those charities named after presidents whose job was also starvation. Their lives aren't hell yet. They are expected to be long. It is possible to be bored while committing genocide, feeling less hatred for your victims than you do for morning traffic. Holocaust doesn't mean hate. It means sacrifice, burnt offering. So we all become Holocaust deniers for a second with every candidate we vote for, every tax we pay, every gas tank we fill, every law we obey. The next best thing to smashing that sprinkler head in 1944 is to smash something like it today, because even John McCain and Barack Obama can call Harriet Tubman a hero. The dead are dead, and shrines aren't the only ways to mourn. The gone are gone, and there is no better monument to them than to learn from them, to fight for the living, to treat the words never again as a promise instead of a fucking slogan, and make sure if more museums get built for future Holocausts, they won't be able to find any props to fit in the displays. No German shower heads, no Rwandan machetes, no new Führer skulls, because they will all have been too damaged to be recognized.